All right, so as I go through this review process and I'm coloring and keeping track of my submittals, I can always go up to my Semental Summary here. And here I can come in and sort by the worst case, where it tells me what my progress is, which ones I've reviewed, and I can sort by the ones that I have or the ones I haven't reviewed yet. So here I can sort by the ones that I need to continue to look at. And when I select on those, in here I see that they highlight over on the right, so I can quickly find out where they are and go to where they are within the menu and in the model to finish off the ones that I have not reviewed. Now, one of the other great features of this review process is that you can look at not just the drawings, but actually looking at all the data of the submittal based on property type. So for example, if I select all these assemblies in the model, I can instantly look at all the different parameters of, say for example, all the major beam and column elements all at once. I have this parameters menu here. So I can come in and I can sort by the name of the object, I can sort by the grid, I can sort by the profile, the elevation. This is customizable. You as a user can set up what data that you actually want to bring into the interface. And you can control that, what additional properties that you actually want to view in this tabular structure. And then you can come in here and sort, looking at, say, by material grade. And you can look at, oh yeah, verify that all these plates are A36, the hangers are A53, the pipes, and then all the wide flange and everything else are A982. So this is really a revolutionary way of reviewing a submittal. You can review all the assemblies in the submittal based on a property set, a property type, and then check and see if there's any busts on that. And then once you get and you find the ones that are in question, you can find out where they're at interactively in the model, and then actually come back in here and comment on them and isolate them. So really a more advanced way that you could think about reviewing shop drawings. And you can start off most likely doing it the traditional way, where you're going sheet by sheet, but then over time you'll see how comfortable it is to migrate over looking at things kind of holistically, looking at large amounts of data at one time. Alright, so I've jumped ahead here and I've reviewed all the assemblies in this given submittal, so I can verify that in my list here and see that I have added comments to all of them, and I can see that also in the model visually. So what I'm going to do now is exit out of the model reviewer, and I'm going to close out of Techless Structures. And open up the in-model review packaging tool. So here, as either the engineer, the architect, or the general contractor, I'm going to go ahead and package up the submittal that I've reviewed. So instead of just emailing the whole file that is sent back, this is a good work process to go through, that you just go through and pick the model and then pick the submittal information that you reviewed and go ahead and send across the S5 submittal, and then go ahead and say package. And I'm going to say S5 from EOR. So I know that's from me. And I'll go ahead and zip that up, and I can go ahead and email that to the general contractor or fabricator, or post it to an FTP site. So as the structural engineer is doing the review, the architect and the general contractor can also be reviewing the model. So here I've opened up the role of the architect, and I can see that down here on the bottom. This is the role of the architect. And traditionally the architect isn't necessarily going to go through all of the assembly drawings. That isn't really what they do. But what they're going to do is want to check how the structure really interfaces with various architectural systems, and looking at floor openings and such. So if I can go ahead here and show that the architectural model can be actually brought in here as a reference as well. So here I'm going to use the clip planes and come down here and cut down into this structure. So the architect can see how the structural elements actually are tied in to here. I can see that this column is actually yellow because that's from a previous submittal, submittal 4 possibly, that the architect had a comment on that column element. So when they're reviewing the submittal 5, they can be looking at just how does it actually interface with the various elements. And then they would come in here and they might see some comments on the fact that the bottom pipes here do not have any cap plates. Something that's a visual aspect that they're just concerned with, that those should really be covered so that there's no shadows or things like that that are impacting the visibility here of that. So what they can do is actually just come in and isolate, just look at the various pieces in the model and then see which ones that they actually have comments on. And they could actually just make comments to the model itself and not really being that concerned with the drawings. So come in here and maybe they have comments on all these verticals because they don't have those cap plates, and just make those comments. In this case, the architect and the general contractor do not necessarily have to be checking all the assemblies. They can be spot checking elements in the model, and then just those model comments can be shared back to the general contractor. So at this point they would go through, do their courtesy review, maybe make a few comments, and then they can go ahead and close out and send back or package up the comments similar to how the structural engineer has done that.